Good morning, everyone. Dalton Grados with Grados Capital here with a pre-market newsletter starting this new week. Today is Tuesday, January 16th. Of course, yesterday was MLK Day, so it was an abbreviated trading session. Doesn't really count as a full trading day, and so we could pretty much treat today as a Monday start to a new week. And so we are going to start on the weekly chart. By the way, if you are just watching this on YouTube, I know I don't upload very regularly, but what I do regularly is a daily pre-market newsletter sent to your email every single day, showing my thoughts for the day. And today, this is it. This is the newsletter for today in video form, but most often it's in written form, and it comes to your newsletter. It's totally free. You can subscribe at the link in the description here on this video. Totally free, no upsells or anything like that, and you just get my thoughts delivered to you every morning before the open. Now, going into today, we are pretty much balanced, right? So on the weekly chart, we're in this balance area, looking very bullish. I would say below this equal low here around the what is that? 4735 to 4700 would be a potential to shift the tone down, but other than that, we are basically balancing slash bullish in terms of our high time frame bias. If we down to the daily chart, of course, the price here is pretty much hovering around 4800. Same kind of thing, we could balance in here, we could continue to consolidate, but there's really no bias. The upside targets are going to be the highs here, and the potential to shift the tone down is really going to be below 4700. Momentum shifting down would be the shift of the tone there. And if we look on an intraday chart, we are pretty much opening today in balance. And so, again, in terms of the higher time frames, there's not much bias here. It's pretty neutral. If you're going to scalp on the 15-second chart for a couple ticks, then take your setups as you see them. But in terms of the overall bigger picture, we're still looking for something to happen. For a larger move to happen. We're kind of in a consolidation range here. But what I wanted to show you guys today, because this is a day where I will be waiting for the first 30 minutes of trade to take place to determine what the rest of the day is going to look like and what my trading ideas should be. And I really wanted to show you guys some education here. Now, I talk about this in my daily newsletters, sort of what I'm looking for at the open, but I haven't really pulled it out from the book to show you guys. So this is Mind Over Markets by Jim Dalton. And this is a very, reputable, famous, very frequently cited book amongst professional traders, Mind Over Markets by Jim Dalton. And this is a little section I want to talk to you here about today is about the open. So when I talk about what I'm looking for at the open, it's based on this. So Jim Dalton, says when the market opens, less experienced traders may wait for the initial balance to develop, thinking that there is little information or little to do prior to development of structure. Seasoned traders, however, know that the first half hour of trade establishes one of the day's extremes in a large majority of the cases. And so these are basically his setups that he gives at the open. We have the open drive, the open test drive, the open rejection reverse, and the open auction. And pretty much what he's saying here is in the majority of the time, the first half hour of trade will more or less kind of tell you what that day is going to look like. Right, he says, in other words, the market's open often foreshadows the day's outcome. So real quickly, I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, but the open drive is the strongest. It's basically going to be exactly what it sounds like, an open drive, whether it's down or up. It is just on a mission right from the open. Usually that's going to result in a trending day, right? Majority of cases, the extreme left behind after an opening drive will hold for the entire day. So we've seen that before if you've been trading, right, for any length of time. Open drive. The next is the open test drive, where basically similar, but what we're going to do at the open first is to test the a level on the opposite end and then run. So this would be like if the market opens. I don't know if you can see my mouse here, but basically if the market, let's say we're going to go down today, just for this example, say we open up, test this area, and then drive down. That would be an open test drive. And then the next setup here is going to be, I know this is a book, right? So you can read this in your own time, but the open rejection reverse. So that is that the market opens, trades in one direction, and then meets the opposite activity strong enough to reverse price and return it back through the opening range. So this would be a little similar to the open test drive, but probably more dramatic. So the initial extreme established when buying or selling in one direction dies out, the auction stalls, and the opposite activity begins to auction price in the other direction. Less convinced of its direction when compared to the open drive and open test drive, but it will test the initial extremes. So this would be really where we get more of an open in one direction. We're testing the extremes up here, and then we reverse back into range, right? And then the last setup that Jim Dalton talks about here is the open auction, where essentially this is like a choppy day, right? So the conviction is where the market opens relative to the previous day. Open auction occurs inside the previous day's range, right? So this is pretty much, like just chop. That's an open auction. So basically our four setups are, if I'm going to say a bearish day for this example, open drive would just be, it's just going straight down, no stopping it right from the open. Open test drive, we come up, we test maybe this support level or resistance level around 4,800. We come up and test and then reject. Rejection reversal, a little bit more dramatic and less convinced than the open test drive. We come up, we test an extreme, and we reverse back down into the day's range and below the opening price. And then lastly, the open auction, where we just kind of chop around in here. Okay, so those are basically, I know that might have been a little lengthier than I intended it to be initially, but those are basically how you're going to determine what the day is going to look like based on the first half hour. So these are the four setups you're looking for. And again, this book, Mind Over Markets by Jim Dalton, is trader gold right here. This is what the pros read. So I'd highly recommend it. And I don't know how legal it is, but I found this PDF for free online. So you don't even have to buy the book. And so it's probably out there somewhere. So if you can find it, make sure you download it. Anyway, so this is the pre-market newsletter going into today, going into this week. And again, hopefully this was helpful. These are the opening setups I'll be looking for, especially because the high time frame setups are pretty neutral, and we just got to wait to see what the market wants to do. So hopefully this was valuable for you today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and subscribe to the daily newsletter in the description if you haven't already. Thanks.